The Central Club.
Do you ever get sweet tooth or just fancy a treat? Or maybe you're just on the munchies. I know I do. Go and check the local Boss Man bringing you global flavours at Boss Man Sweets and Treats at Kylian Road, Newport, MP19. Also available online and coming to a store in Cardiff very, very soon. Do you need a work uniform? Want to start a clothing brand? Or maybe you have a football kit that needs a logo printed? Well, if I was you, I'd get in touch with the Re-Inspire Printing Company down Treforest Industrial Estate for the finest printing and embroidery in Wales. I use them for my custom-made mankini, but you could use them for t-shirts, hats, hoodies, and many, many other things. What's going on, people? Welcome to the Central Club. This episode is brought to you by Re-Inspire Printing and Boss Man Sweets. I want to say a big thank you to everyone who showed their support so far. We have now hit over 1,000 subscribers, which is amazing.
Fast.
So we want to bring episode 9 in fashion. We've got a great guest today. This man is a chef, author, and YouTuber. He's also known as the Avantgardevegan, and he's been described in the Daily Telegraph as being one of the meat-free leaders in the world.
Wow.
Mr. Gaz Oakley.
Thank you for having me.
Nice.
No
Actually
problem.
didn't know that was a slogan that I had. Meat-free leaders in the world. What was it?
The meat, one of the leading meat-free.
That sounds quite strange, doesn't it?
One of the leading meat-free leaders.
That sounds if you didn't know as a chef, you just think that was just like a
Meat-free.
meat what?
It's like a cult.
Yeah.
I'll be honest.
Or I just had no meat on me. Like I just was a meat-free person. I don't know.
Just a bag of bones.
Yeah. Sounds so strange.
That was
There we go.
Wikipedia, mate.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to get someone to edit the Wikipedia.
Yeah, get it, mate.
Oh, was that
I
Wikipedia,
swear
was
to
it?
God, that's what it says. I should have done better research, really.
No,
No,
I
that's
just
fine.
There, man.
No, that's all good.
Anyone can write on Wikipedia.
Yeah.
You can literally put anything on there.
All right, I'm going home tonight. That's what I'm doing.
Oh, mate, thank you for coming down.
No
Honestly.
worries. Thank you. I've been watching you guys on Instagram doing your thing, and it's good to see people from Cardiff like smashing it. So keep it going.
Yeah, that's
Thanks for
why-
having me.
That's why we wanted you on, because you're representing Cardiff and
Yes.
what you've done, smashing it like.
Thank
so,
you. Yeah. I'm proper proud to be from Cardiff and Wales.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
yeah, it's nice to see this happening.
Yeah, good. So you say you're from Cardiff. Like, where you from originally then?
Yeah, I grew up in Cardiff. I moved to London about 4 years ago. Spent a few years there, and I've just moved back to Wales. Moved to the countryside though, so I'm in the middle of nowhere, but it's beautiful. I'm loving it. So, yeah.
Why did you move back from London? Did you have enough of the?
Yeah, I mean, with the whole lockdown thing, I wasn't really experiencing London as I should be. You know, like the first couple of years was great. You know, I could have this social life and it was fun, but I needed just to be, I think subconsciously with all the lockdowns, I needed to just be somewhere open and free.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, I felt just like just stuck in my house all the time, nowhere to go. Or when you do go out in London, everyone's in a rush. It's so busy. So there was no escape, it felt. So I think subconsciously I was just taken to the most far removed place from London. I'm just in the middle of nowhere. My neighbours are sheep and cows and a few deers and eagles flying in the sky. It's beautiful. Like, it's the most amazing thing. I'm not a country boy, I'm a proper city boy, but this is suiting me like properly. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
So
What a difference, isn't
Yeah.
it? Was you in the city centre of London or?
I was in Streatham, which is like near Brixton.
Wow.
Proper South London. Bit sketchy at times.
Yeah. What made you move there? Like, was that to do with, was it more of a vegan scene there, or?
Nothing to do with vegan scene, but just the fact that
Like the gay scene in Soho. Like, is it like I don't, Yeah.
no, well, it's definitely not a vegan scene in Streatham, that's for certain. But
Oh no, you mean
yeah. However, I was just looking for a place where I could film my YouTube videos, my cooking show, and there happened to be an old printing factory turned into a house, high ceilings, nice kitchen. So that's why I ended up in Streatham. Never been there in my life before. Spent a lot of time in London prior to it, but never to Streatham. Just happened to go there. The house was nice, and then I thought, look, I'll move. I'll get to know the area. It'll be fine, and it was fine. There's a nice little gym around the corner. Shout out to Squatch Gym, little bodybuilders gym. I was so intimidated to go in there at first. It looks like proper. It was like underground almost, and I walked in there. And I was like, oh, this isn't like David Lloyd, is it? Shit. But I walked in there, the nicest people, shaking your hand before you start a session. And I had the best time. That was the best part of living in London, was that little gym. So Yeah, I had a good time in London. I'm always back and forth, but I'm enjoying my new country life.
Yeah, I see you've got a lot of connections in London, especially in the music scene and stuff. I
Yeah.
seen you had Manga on one of your Ready Steady Cook goes,
Yeah,
which was funny actually.
he's hilarious. Yeah.
How did you come across meeting them grime artists?
I've known Manga for quite a few years actually. Before I even started on this sort of journey of doing the whole social media cooking thing. Oh, I've been cooking for a long time, but I met him through Astro Boys. Used to tour with him a lot, and he's just such a good, down to earth person. And being in London, would see him quite often. And when I wanted to start doing this sort of Ready Steady Cook inspired series on my show with musician Gaz, I had to get him on first. And yeah, he's hilarious. If you haven't seen it, it's so funny because I had 20 minutes to cook a dish.
You brought apples.
Yeah,
you brought a bag of apples.
Yeah, so the guest brings on this like mystery bag of ingredients. I've got 20 minutes to cook a dish live, so we're filming it live and it just gets edited briefly and put on YouTube. So I'm thinking, I hope first thing that they've brought me, like he's brought something that I can actually cook something nice with. Secondly, I hope he can help me because I know I always bite off more than I can chew when it comes to creating a recipe. because I want to like show my skills a little bit. And then just having that extra pair of hands would be great. But he didn't do anything, and all he did was just take the mick out of me or just like try and be funny. And it resulted in something hilarious, and I loved it. But the next guest I had on was Mace from Cardiff, the rapper.
Shout out Mace.
And he was a bit better in the kitchen than Manga, so it was nice to have an extra pair of hands. So I want to continue doing that and get more artists on the show, because music and food is big passions of mine, and also when they're connected together is really a nice thing.
Definitely.
What is it about cooking that's been so, you said throughout my life I've always cooked. So why is that so important to you, and why
did you get into it? Sort of thing?
Yeah, I got into cooking first when I was about 8 years old with my dad. And he's a great home cook, cooked like meals from scratch every evening for my family. Just thought it was a thing that every kid did, like my dad's cooking. I saw his knives, I saw the flames. I thought that's pretty fun. So let me get involved. I was quite creative. So I just started cooking with him, learning from him, watching cooking programs, reading recipe books. I just thought every kid did it, to be honest with you. It's quite weird. But I was quite creative in school. I wasn't very book smart, so I was good at art and sport and cooking. So I just got quite good at it. And then when you could choose a subject at GCSE, I chose to do catering. Did pretty well at that. That was my only good grade, really. Everyone else was average, but
actually,
I had
you'd be surprised. Sorry to interrupt you.
Sorry?
Where you said earlier that a lot of families actually cooking's a big part of a lot of families. Actually, a lot of families don't actually cook together.
Yeah,
and it's a lot of takeaways. A lot of
very, very fortunate. Well, that's what my family was. Takeaway.
So what you said is like there's actually a lot of families who don't actually spend the time cooking.
Oh yeah.
Why was that so important to you? Why was that did that bring you together as a family? Like how was that?
I think more so is the fact that my dad grew up with, his dad died when he was 3. He grew up in Ely. His mum was out working constantly. He probably didn't have the best in diets growing up. And then when he got older and he could have that freedom in the kitchen to cook whatever he wanted, he got really into it. He's also very creative, and he just thought this is something that I could do every night. After a long day of work, cooking is actually very therapeutic. So he probably did it for that reason too. And I just got involved because I thought it was quite fun, So
Was your dad a chef?
No, never. But
just a good home
just
cook.
A really good home. Had all the
cookbooks. What
cookbooks.
foods did he make?
Pretty much. He still does it today. He's vegan now, actually, himself. But he's making curries, Italian dishes. Yeah, really, really good cook. I was very lucky to have that. And as I said, I chose catering at GCSE. That was the only good grade that I had, more or less. And then I actually went on a cooking show whilst I was in doing GCSEs, because they ITV sent in a notification or something, or an email saying we're looking for people to come on this new show called Britain's Best Dish.
Nice.
I was like, I'll go for it. Went to the audition, got through, did the whole ITV studio thing. I don't know how I didn't have any nerves, but back then I was fearless. I could just do it, and that was really fun. And then after that, I knew all I wanted to do was become a chef. So 15, got my first chef's job, part-time whilst I was in school. As soon as I could leave school at 16, went straight into professional chef and started learning all the skills. But prior to all that, I wanted to play rugby for Wales. So, yeah, sport was the main thing at first.
What position was you?
Outside half, yeah.
You look very, you're quite a fit guy as well. Like
I guess I was like, I had all the skills, you know. I had all the skills. I wasn't big. I was always
didn't
very
like getting
lean.
tackled though, no?
I didn't mind. I loved it. I loved rugby. I miss it to this day.
Yeah.
Like I haven't played a proper game of rugby since I was 16. Like 12
Have you got time to
ago.
play now these days? Could you go back and play?
I could play now, but I mean, I'd need to put on some size. You know, you have to bulk up, and also the fear of getting injured and not being able to work would be a little bit something that I'd be conscious about. But I'm so competitive, having played so much sport. I've got this competitive drive that just makes me want to like do something. So I'm doing a London Marathon in October to test myself. After that, I may do like a white collar boxing things. I love my boxing, so just want to. Whilst I'm young, you know,
use it.
Yeah, I was put into so many sports as a kid. There's no wonder why I'm so competitive.
Was that your father pushing you for sports as well, or was you just into sports? Because a lot of kids out there growing up, they say, "Yeah, I was put into sports," but some of them don't really like playing. It's just their parents put them into it.
I think they didn't force me into it, but my parents, they both like had single parent upbringings. I think they didn't get the opportunities.
Wanted the best,
and they were just like, if there's an opportunity to do something, we'll take him. So I played rugby. I played football, swam, running, pretty much everything. So there's no wonder why I'm so competitive now.
Nice.
Do you carry that into your work, like into your career? Like, is that why? So, like, because you said you were a decent cook, from young. Yeah. Is that something? Is that just something you're born with? You're just wired differently, and you use that as your way of, that competitive nature to be able to just excel in things.
I definitely sort of use that competitive drive in business, I guess. Yeah. But only with myself, just trying to be the best version, or any content that I produce, I'll never slack. I'll always try and invest to make it the best possible thing. But still, that burning competitive desire isn't going anywhere. So that's why I'm doing the marathon. I'm doing all these things. So, do
you think it can become unhealthy for you, like an unhealthy obsession with works and stuff sometimes?
It has been in the past, yeah. Like I lost relationships because
I've had
working
that
too much, too focused, overthinking. If I have like a lay-in, I'm feeling guilty. I think everyone that owns their own business sort of goes through that a little bit. Yeah. Now I'm a bit more chilled, a bit more in control of my lifestyle a little bit more, and I'm sort of able to enjoy the sort of fruits of that labor and that sacrifice early on. So I'm still working just as hard, but I'm a bit more under control with it.
When did you start learning about dieting, and how did you become a vegan? Like, what was the thought process there?
So after working in the professional kitchens, learning my trade, I was working crazy hours, like 80-hour weeks. I wanted to become the youngest chef with a Michelin star. I was inspired by people like Marco Pierre White, Gordon Ramsay, these big chefs. I wanted to like emulate their journey. Never thought about ever being vegan those times. Like a vegan would come into the restaurant and us chefs would look at each other and think, oh, for fuck's sake, like what are we going to do now? But we always did something nice, of course. Because this was years ago. Like
it's deterrent, isn't it? When you're probably just cooking meat all the time.
Well, yeah, we had vegetarian options, but that's as far as we probably thought. We'd always do something nice, so it was okay. And it wasn't as big as it is now. Veganism, everyone knows about it. I actually had to take a break out of the cooking industry, out of the professional kitchens, because I was broken. Like I was working so many hours. I wasn't sleeping properly because I'd start at 8, I'd finish at 12 every day. And you go through a service, like lunchtime or dinner service, especially on Friday, Saturdays, is like in terms of the energy that it takes from you, it's like going to doing a long run or playing a rugby match. And you're constantly under pressure, especially as a young chef, because the head chef is watching everything. I had some really good ones, but if you do something wrong, they can switch. Or one of the head chefs I had, all he had to do was just give me this stare. I feel like I wanted the world to swallow me up.
Why Why do you think there's that pressure in our industry? Because I know somebody else who's a chef and they say that they work ridiculous hours. So why is there that pressure, do you think, in that industry?
It's important, isn't it? It's, it's what people eat. I think it's very a touchy subject, food anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, oh yeah.
You can't like get things wrong with food because you can make someone ill.
Yeah, I think
people don't want to mess around with food, and if you... That's my point of view anyway.
Well, there's that for sure, but also like for the kind of food that we were cooking, we were trying to get a Michelin star of our own. So consistency is everything. Yeah. If we said, all right, every chef is going to work 40-hour weeks, that's all they're doing. That would mean we'd have to get 2 teams because you need to be in the kitchen from 8 till 12. So then, because you're having 2 different teams, like one chef may be cooking slightly different to the other, then the consistency's off. So you need to have the same chefs day in, day out. So you're working long hours, and then also just the quality. So if you're not on it one day and you're messing up, you're gonna drop the quality of the food, and that person eating could be a restaurant critic or could be someone from the Michelin Guide, and if they happen to have that food on a bad day at the restaurant, then you've lost out.
The chance.
So that is why the levels are kept so high.
What? So did the restaurant get the Michelin star, or do you as a person?
The restaurant, mainly the head chef.
Okay.
Marco Pierre White is one of my inspirations. He's like a rock star chef from back in the day. He says, he was the youngest chef to get 3 Michelin stars, but he always says, it's not me getting the Michelin stars, it's the team behind me that helped me. So I think, if the restaurant I worked at got a Michelin star, even if I was the lowest chef in there, I would have been proud, and I would be able to say I was there at the time when I was working at this particular place, we got a Michelin star. That would have been amazing. But I could still get a Michelin star now. I'm going to do it one day for sure. I think anything's possible.
I always wanted to do that with the hair industry. I always thought I'd love there to be like a system where there could be like a Michelin star sort of system in the hair industry, in the salons. Yeah,
well, it gives incentives as well. Then I think it's a big incentive.
I was thinking about writing to like the hairdressing federation about and saying like,
start your own one.
Yeah,
you could go
same star.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah.
Like literally, why not?
Yeah.
Well, so Michelin is a person, is it? Like the
it's like a governing sort of body of. I think it's sponsored by the Michelin tire thing actually.
You're lying to me.
It's basically it started.
He's nodding in the corner like.
It started in France. It's basically like the pinnacle. Like there's 3. The maximum you get is 3 stars. And you have to be an elite restaurant to get in that Michelin Guide. It's basically a book with all the best restaurants in.
Oh,
that's crazy.
Super hard to get in there, but
yeah.
So back to like what like Luca was saying, like when did the penny drop then really? When did you start to, think
going vegan? Yeah, so I forgot about that.
That's okay.
Yeah. That's cool. So after leaving the professional kitchens, I actually went to a builder's yard and started loading lorries just because I needed a break from the industry. I went back down to like 40-hour weeks, and I was actually earning more money doing that than as a chef because I was earning peanuts as a chef. It's not the best paid industry whatsoever, and you're working so much. But anyway, I actually worked my way up in this company, did it for a couple of years, quite a few, like 3 to 4 years, and had spare time on my hands, and I wanted to play rugby again. So I knew I had to put on some size. So for like a year and a half, I was eating like this super calorific bodybuilder's diet, like 5,000 calories a day, literally meal prep, so like militant with it. And after a while of eating all this like animal protein or animal products, I was having this pain in my stomach. I was feeling sluggish. I was getting big. I thought, my gym gains were up. It's crazy. Looking back at pictures, I look ridiculous. I was just too big for my stature, Yeah. But I wasn't feeling too good. I started seeing more things on Twitter about veganism. JME, he's vegan, the rapper. I was following him on Twitter, and he kept mentioning things about a vegan diet. Just planted a little seed in my head. I thought maybe...
Literally.
Yeah. I was thinking, and I just started thinking about, I don't know, I just thought about animals. I was like, every time I was eating meat, I was thinking, oh, fuck, this isn't just a product. Like, this is actually a piece of flesh. It was kind of weird. Every time I was eating it, I felt like this weight on my shoulders.
Dave, the cow, like...
Dave, yeah.
Was there anything that really sparked that for though? Because you surely because your consciousness has shifted from this is just a product. Was there anything you watched at the time that influenced that decision for you?
Just what I saw on Twitter, and I just sort of maybe got more of a connection with the food, and then and not feeling good. Went to doctors, said I had like a stomach pain, didn't know what it was, but I did see how much protein I was eating, and probably that was the telltale sign. Anyway, then JME actually went on Radio 1 Extra talking to a presenter who was also doing vegan for a month, and he mentioned the video that made him go vegan overnight. He posted the link. I thought, right, I'm actually sick of eating this now. Let me watch the video. Blew me away. Went vegan straight away.
What was it like about animals and that being?
It was just a speech by a guy, an activist, a vegan activist in America. Just talked about health, animals, and the environment. And I was like, I wished I watched it sooner. Like I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I think if anyone sat down and watched that, I think they would seriously question what they're eating.
Do you know what?
I want to see it.
Do you know, I had the exact same thing, bro. Have you ever seen The Game Changer?
Yeah.
I watched The Game Changer and I went straight vegan. Like,
Really?
literally, I could not eat any meat.
You had a burger this morning. What do you want about?
Right, yeah, but let me finish the story. Yeah. I had a vegetarian breakfast, bro.
I was joking. Like, we had one last night. I
did have one last night. But listen, the thing is, like, I'll get to that. So basically, I became a vegan, yeah. But after 4 or 5 weeks, I started feeling weak. And I started craving meat.
Really?
It was. I found it hard to get off the meat. I craved the meat, and that's why I still eat meat now. Like,
right. Well, that happens to quite a lot of people. I mean, for me, again, that competitiveness and the sort of all or nothing type of mindset. I can't like.
So you had the craving as well.
I'll come on that now, but like, if I say I'm going to do something, I have to do it. Like, I can't go back on it.
Yeah.
And then also because I'm a good cook, I was then able to go into the kitchen and make foods that was like, oh, this is amazing. I don't even miss anything.
Make it taste just as good.
Tasted unbelievable. And that stomach issue I had I had so much more energy. I felt like this weird connection to like the world. It was weird. Okay, I'm not very spiritual, but like I felt like I needed to be in nature or something. It was amazing. Nice. It was proper beautiful.
Wow,
felt like clearer. I think our bodies take a long time to digest meat, so that disappearing from my diet made me feel proper light and agile. It just felt good. But yeah. But
all the top athletes in the world are all vegan.
Yeah.
So like,
I cooked for a big athlete recently. Actually, I don't know if I can say a name. Drop. Well, go on that after. But in your scenario, like someone said to me on a Q&A once, they said like, why do so many people like become vegan and then quit it? And a lot of it, unfortunately, is to do with not having the strongest mindset. I'm not saying that's what
I
you
probably
are.
don't, to be honest.
It may be.
I went straight to Burger King, like, and just ordered about 10 burgers.
But what also it could be is the fact that like it's such a shift in like your pattern. Like food is your life, really. Even if you don't pay that much attention to it, if you're not cooking day to day prior to going vegan, the chances of you when you go vegan starting cooking are quite slim, and you kind of have to get in the kitchen when you go vegan to become really excited.
You could eat anything and still be a vegan sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? Like not like you could eat anything, but like you could eat unhealthy stuff that's not made by animals.
Exactly. And also like many people say, oh, I went vegan and I felt weak or I developed this illness. Half the time people are so unhealthy before going vegan that like they're seeing the effects of that unhealthy diet when they actually go vegan. Because how can your body change after 4 weeks of being vegan? Like how have you suddenly become ill after 4 weeks?
I actually felt like, I don't know. I personally, because I'm talking from personal experience, I don't know. But I felt weak. Yeah. But that was probably thinking back, like
could be the cut of calories.
Yeah, it probably was. Yeah. And also, like what I said, you can be vegan and still eat a load of. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you can eat a lot of stuff, like chips, chips and bread. You could live off of that if you wanted to. I don't recommend it. But I mean, what probably happened is you've gone from eating anything you want, and that's consuming a lot of calories, to thinking, shit, I can't eat that burger or that slice of pizza that was just hanging around. So you're instantly at a like calorific deficit. And you're going to feel weaker because you're not eating enough. So that's my advice. If you're going to go vegan, make sure you keep your calories up, eat the right things first and foremost, try and get in the kitchen, eat good quality carbs, and you'll feel good in yourself. It does take some prep and planning, but one positive of the last few years, when I went vegan nearly 6 years ago, there was hardly any vegan options at any restaurants. There was no snacks or anything at supermarkets or Starbucks or wherever. Like, it was difficult. So I had to cook and I had to show people how to make food. That's why I started what I'm doing now.
Think that's why you're doing so well now, maybe?
Maybe, I guess. I think I got in at the right time because I started cooking these really amazing vegan dishes thinking, oh, fuck, why didn't I do this sooner? People were saying, I don't know if I'm allowed to swear. I'm sorry. If
of course.
Because on my channel, I'm not swearing, so I'm taking advantage. But
just do what you got to do.
This is the real guy.
But yeah, so I was cooking all this lovely food. I got that passion back for cooking after leaving the professional kitchens. And I was like, I need to show people what I'm actually eating. Because I was going into my work and saying, I'm vegan now. They're like, what is that? They didn't know what it was back then. It was only 5 years ago. So I said to myself, right, I'm going to start a little Instagram page and just post my food on there. And it just went from me just posting every meal that I was eating to people asking for my recipes, to people all around the world starting to follow me. And then people seeing the fact that I had that professional cooking background and there was a difference between me and just a little blogger. Guy
trying it,
And then it just blew up. And then I moved to YouTube and it's
one thing I did want to say before we did move on, you know, when you was in the kitchens and you weren't a vegan, was you eating a lot of unhealthy food in there? Did you eat much in the kitchens as well?
Yeah.
Is that why you say you feel I might have had bad pains and stuff?
Oh, well, I didn't have those issues then. Okay. It was only when I started that bodybuilder's lifestyle.
No, however, when I worked in the kitchen, like I was just eating like loads of just...
Yeah. Well, they say never trust a skinny chef. However, I was a really skinny chef, and many of the chefs around me were also, because when you're cooking and when you have to pay such attention to the seasoning of food because your head chef is watching you like a hawk. You're tasting constantly, so you have no appetite. You're then I'm then drained because I'm not sleeping, so I'm living off bloody 35p fake Red Bulls, not eating any breakfast, not training. And I was a zombie, honestly. My parents, they were proper worried about me, and so I had to have that break. Looking back now in hindsight, with the knowledge that I have now, if I was to go into professional kitchens, and whenever I do now, you know, I take care of myself. You know, I make sure I'm eating properly. I make sure I'm exercising or getting a good night's sleep. So, and when I open my own restaurant, they're all the things that I will make sure people are doing.
When you say opening a restaurant, where would you like to open up? Where would your ideal place to open up your own restaurant would it be in the city of Cardiff, or would you like to go London? Or
I mean, I've kept it quite hush to be honest with you, but I always want to live somewhere sunny, and I guess the place where I open my restaurant, I kind of need to be living. As much as I love where I'm living now in the countryside, I think eventually I'll open my restaurant in a hot climate. I love places like LA and Miami. Maybe there, who knows? I've got a big fan base in America. They just seem to be more enthusiastic anyway about life, and then especially when they can connect to someone on social media or, you know, a musician or whatever, they're so much more enthusiastic. I feel like in the UK, people sort of judge a little bit first. You know, they're like, "Oh, we do want them to do well, but not too well." You know, but in America,
like a stigma as well on vegans. Like people are like, "Oh, vegans." No,
I think that is being sort of, I don't know,
proven wrong.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. And people are trying to make it cooler. I hope I'm having an effect on that.
I think a lot of people turn vegan as a trend, though.
Yeah, could be, yeah.
And that's probably why you say a lot stopped.
And yeah, that's another point, actually, I should say. Yeah, people may have thought, oh, this is the cool thing to do. I don't know why that would be cool, gut change in a diet, but maybe some people think like that. However, and going back to my one final point about why people fail at going vegan, if I hadn't watched that video, I wouldn't have stuck to it. I needed that shock to my system and that real motivation to think, oh shit, that's how that gets to my plate. Or because I'm eating this, I'm going to have, you know, maybe later in life, I may, you know, get some adverse like illnesses. because I'm such a health freak as well. I want to do everything in my power to make sure I live till I'm 200 if I can.
What exactly was it about? What was it? The health, or was it the fact that it was animals being killed?
It was a combination of the three things: animals, health, and the planet. You know, when the guy, his name is Gary Yourofsky, this activist, when he talks about animals, he like put it into my head that, you know, they are living things, and the way they're treated, especially in factory farming, is like disgusting. Like like if any of us went there now, like we would be so shocked and be like, why are they doing this? Like this, like although it may taste nice for 30 seconds, like does this really need to happen for us to enjoy that? So if any of us went there, we'd all disagree with it. So who am I to just sit there and eat it and pretend like it's not going on? And that's the sort of thing that he drilled into me.
When I eat meat, if I go out to there's certain restaurants that I go to in Cardiff that I eat my food, and I'm really conscious about. I'll only actually really eat meat if I go to those places.
Yeah.
If I eat meat at home, I go to a select butcher that I go to.
You're Muslim, innit you? So.
Yeah, I'm Muslim, so I only eat halal meat.
Yeah.
So they have to kill that meat. They have to kill that animal in a certain way. Yeah. My question for you was, how do you judge what is morally right and wrong? Because we believe that the animals were there. We don't eat a lot. When I say like we, like I don't want to sound like that. Like, but basically we try to eat as much veg as we can in a diet.
Yeah.
We try to eat only a limited amount of meat if we can.
Yeah.
That's probably what's recommended for us more. But how do you decide, like, when it comes to morality and killing animals, like, who makes, like, you know where I'm trying to go with that sort of question, don't you? Because there's people out there who don't think it's wrong, and people who do think it's wrong. So how do you make that decision? Like, what, like, do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I mean, I probably should say this actually, that I'm not that militant, and I'm with the whole vegan thing, and also like I rarely touch upon why I'm vegan, or I never tell people to go vegan on my show. It's all about just let the food do the talking. If you want to try this food, you try it.
Yeah.
However, you know, I'm also under the I totally get that it's a big thing. I'm not expecting everyone to just go vegan overnight.
Yeah.
Like it's a big thing, and there's religion, there's culture, there's everything involved in it, and people are very protective over their diets because it is a major thing in people's lifestyles. Yeah. So I guess people will find their, will find peace in their mind when it comes to making certain decisions. For me, I found mine. I think that religion is such a touchy subject, and I'm not religious myself. And I don't want to sort of make like calls and say things like, or if, you know, if a particular religion is, you know, pushing peace, then why doesn't that start on your dinner plate? Like, who am I to say that? Like, this has been around for thousands of years. I just want people to potentially maybe research why they're eating certain things. Maybe
I think the thing which I hate about the meat world and whatever is it's like the genetically modified, or, you know, like farming them in these cages. That's just dirty. You know, years ago, like, you know, even 200 years ago, you'd hunt for an animal. And, you know, it's like, I just think it's all a bit dodgy at the moment.
It's more like, really, if you are going to eat meat, you should just go to a butcher, really. Yeah. You should, if you're going to eat meat, go to a butcher, go somewhere where you're going to get, where you know where the meat is coming from, I guess.
I mean, that like locally sourced and things like that would be the best way of eating meat. If I was going to say, obviously, I'm not going to like promote that. I think people should be eating more plant-based foods.
Why? Can you answer that? Like, why they should be eating over meat?
Well, for the three reasons I mentioned, definitely. Like, I'm speaking from personal opinion, like
also,
personal
like,
experiences.
Health benefits. What are the health benefits?
Scientifically, what does it actually do for you?
I'm not a scientist or a nutritionist, I should say.
Well, mental health then. It obviously plays on people's mind.
But health-wise, for me, as I said, loads more energy. Don't feel like weighed down. Like I train. I'm like I said, I'm doing this marathon, but I'm training like an athlete. I'm breaking all my sort of personal best that I did before going vegan. So that alone for me is like, I'm sold.
I'm doing better already.
I'm sold. And It's amazing for your, cardiovascular health. If you're eating foods high in saturated fats, you're only going to put pressure on those organs. A plant-based diet is lower in cholesterol, saturated fats, all of these things. So like, if you look at the data, it's all there to say this is much better for you, providing you're not living off chips and bread. You're eating a whole foods diet, which is like beans, which are things like not Heinz baked beans, like chickpeas, black beans, all of these. These are all superfoods, lentils. Like these foods, if we start eating more of these as a society, like we're going to be so much more healthier. And I know they're like the boring foods, but they're also cheaper than everything too. So like people say vegan diet's expensive, but these things are the cheapest things on the planet, and they're so good for you.
I'm the world's worst when it comes to eating. My diet's disgusting. Like I hardly eat any veg, and if I do, it's on a cooked dinner, being covered in oil. Like how could for someone like myself, like and gravy, and do you know what I mean? For someone like myself who maybe wants to try and be more open minded with, is it like a step? Do you have any advice for people like myself who would like to try but don't know where to start really?
Yeah.
Watch The Game Changer.
I think
just in cooking and stuff as
Honestly,
well. I mean, like I wouldn't know where to start. Like literally.
All right, so like it's difficult when you start from scratch and never cooked before.
Yeah.
The first thing that people need to do is definitely get some good equipment, because like I see people recreating my recipes and they wonder why it's gone wrong. It's because you're chopping on your bloody stovetop. Like get a chopping board at least, But so like you have to put some. I mean,
okay, go on.
I mean,
it's true.
That's the thing for me. I'm just like I always think to myself, if I'm going to do something, I got to do it properly. But so. The kitchen should be your heartbeat, your home. So like invest in it. And it's not expensive to do these days with IKEA and things like that. But get some recipe books, watch some videos on YouTube. I feel like you can learn so much on YouTube these days. It doesn't have to be mine, but you'll learn so much on there nowadays. And then things like to try and get more veg in your diet. You can make like a vegan bolognese. You can make... You must like spaghetti bolognese, yeah?
Yeah, but it's the mince what makes it like, innit?
Yeah, but you can get vegan mince these days, which is amazing. If you didn't want to eat that...
Corn.
Not corn, it's all right, but it's not the best.
Not many people like corn. Like anytime I speak to a vegan, I'm like corn. Like,
there's so many good ones on the market these days and you look at it, you think that's meat. It's got to be, but it's not, and it tastes like it too. A brand that I work with called Future Farm. I'm not plugging them, but I'm just saying that's the one I recommend at Sainsbury's. They got them all, burgers, sausages, meatballs, all sorts. I'm not saying live off those type of replacements all the time, but in that bolognese, you can throw in like 2 carrots, celery, onion, garlic, any veg of your choice, cut small. You won't even taste it, but it's there, And then I think it's just about just trying foods, trying veg, and you'll soon enjoy it. Because like the more you eat something, the more you get used to it anyway. Yeah. I watched The Office US. Do any of you watch that?
Yes, I do.
My favourite show in the world. And there's a guy in there, Stanley. No, not Stanley. Kevin. He doesn't eat veg. Yeah. And there's this one like meeting they have, and Steve Carell, the main character, Michael Scott, he forces him to eat a raw broccoli. I don't recommend just
and stuff.
Yeah, he's eating it. He's eating the stalk first. It's so funny. But yeah, like you don't have to be extreme like
That's
that.
That's what I've been like though. Like I don't know why.
Just hide it in.
Yeah, it's just been heaving.
Really?
Like, you regurgitate, bro. Like
that's crazy.
You can't eat salad.
We'll just avoid them type of things. If I made you, I could feed you something now with 15 different vegetables in it, and you wouldn't know that they're in there. And
well,
also
my nan used to do like a lentil soup blended. Yeah. Now it was lush. Like
I'd do it. It'd be easy for me, and also things like herbs and spices make a big difference too. So
yeah, definitely.
You will be able to love fruits and veg soon.
Okay.
And I recommend eating them.
I eat more fruit than veg, definitely. Like I'll eat fruit, like certain fruits.
Pineapple chunks.
Yes, them mango sticks.
I used to eat so much veg all my life.
Do you prefer veg or fruits?
Fruit, yeah. Veg, for sure, yeah. But I got less of a sweet tooth now.
Is there anything you miss in what you used to be able to eat, which you can't now? Are you trying to try and imitate certain things which you miss, or what do you miss?
So in the early days, that was a big thing for my YouTube channel, and videos that did really well were me creating vegan KFC, vegan steaks. I did it all, and I can create it so that it tastes and has the same texture. It's nuts. I felt like a mad scientist. However, I did miss that. I was eating meat for 24 years.
So what was you doing? Would you go online and look at ways to...
I was experimenting in the kitchen.
Yeah,
that's all I do.
How are you going... Because it was when I think like was it like you turned a fruit into like a steak?
Yeah, so that's watermelon. So there's loads of things you can do.
Watermelon.
However,
Water steak.
Yeah. Steak melon. Mad.
There's loads of things. I'm proper. I get really... it's exciting. Yeah, I mean, it's fun. It is really fun, and I can create pretty much anything and make it vegan. And I'm not going to do it just to look the part. It has to taste and have the same texture.
Ooh, yeah. So is there anything... like saying the question again, is there any meats that you do miss? Is there anything you do miss?
Not so much now, because I feel like I can create everything.
Early days?
Vegan. Early days, it was just the convenience, like just being able to go to the, I don't know, the services on a motorway and be able to get something to eat.
Burger King.
But then I couldn't. Burger King. That's maybe I.
What was your favourite fast food restaurant before you were vegan?
Fried chicken. I love
Is
fried
it?
chicken,
Yeah.
But that was only really because I like the crispy coating.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now I can crispy fry anything now, and to make it taste the same.
What's your crispy fry?
I can make my own vegan chicken from scratch, which tastes just like chicken.
What do you mean? So when you say vegan chicken,
yeah,
what are you making out of that?
Right,
if it's not a chicken, what is it?
Yes, sound like one of my YouTube comments.
Is it?
I'm joking.
It's him.
No, but obviously I'm baffled. Like,
yeah. So
that's where Piers Morgan comes on.
Yeah,
that's what he said.
So like you can make. So there's protein in peas. There's protein in wheat. So I use things like wheat protein. I know it sounds nuts, I know. And I use it. It basically looks like a flour. I flavor that up. I knead it. I cook it. And then it turns into something with the same texture of meat. In the vegan world, it's very common, It's been eaten for centuries by ancient monks, because they're often meat-free. And in Asian cuisine, they always make mock versions of chicken, beef, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, the vegan, or the name for it is called seitan, or not like the devil.
God.
I know, that's what I don't really say it. Or wheat gluten is called.
You need to change the name, like Gaz Oakley changed the name.
Like obviously, we're in this day and age now where people should know this, but for people who don't, because I kind of still get mixed up on it, what's the difference between a vegan and a vegetarian then?
We just don't eat any animal products, or like you were telling me about my trainers earlier, I don't wear any leather or any...
so plant-based...
I just don't wear anything that's come from an animal.
So Canada Goose and stuff?
Yeah, no fur, no leather, no suede, blah, 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 all that stuff.
A lot of companies now, like I think Gucci announced they're not using any more fur now and stuff like that. So
did you find it difficult to find clothes at first? Like,
not so much clothes. I never wore leather jackets and things like that.
Guys in a leather with some winkle pickers.
Leather boots.
Proper sneakers.
Them glasses on, mate. You must have tried a leather jacket on once or twice.
Yeah, but it would have been a fake one, because I wouldn't have bought it. I wouldn't have paid £500 for a leather jacket. But I always was into trainers, so not being able to get the trainers I wanted was like a pain. But nowadays, like we were saying, like these trainers.
Yeah, them ones. Give them a show, man.
Am I getting them on the
table? Get them on the table.
They're pretty fresh.
Yeah, these
Prep check.
95s, obviously, were always...
Show them the tongue. Show them the tongue.
Yeah.
So they got different
plants. Show them the
jeans
as well.
No, he's winding you up, mate.
Yeah, so nowadays, they're making trainers out of plant-based materials. Like this watch is pineapple leather.
What?
Pineapple?
Leaves from a pineapple.
Shut up.
What about your tattoos? Are they plant-based things?
You'll be surprised, because they are.
Oh my God.
Because
honestly, first.
Plant-based.
So many things are tested on animals, and also have things of ingredients derived from animals. It's so weird, bro. Like honestly, they use like fish intestines to filter beer or certain wines. Not all beers.
Little things, it's mad.
But it's because as a society, we've gone from like humble beginnings, and then we've just grown and grown and grown, but we're still holding on to the old values of things. And sometimes we need to change. Like, come on, these things are old school. Like, let them be. Let's just do the new thing. So it's amazing to see. Like 5 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to get Nike 95s because Nike wasn't conscious about plant-based materials.
Yeah,
Now they are.
It's from work. There's probably CEOs in like who are vegans themselves who are making this happen as well.
And
like,
there's
it's
a
all
market
about
for
change.
it.
Yeah, and the market, of course. Yeah, they're not stupid, are they?
Yeah.
You know, you say thinking about going to like a nice climate like LA or something. Obviously, you're very passionate about being from Wales. Do you speak Welsh?
No, a little bit.
No.
I'm going to start learning it
I'm
since
just
I've been
wondering,
moved.
like, if
I
maybe
feel proper guilty saying
when you move there, will you still carry the Welsh flag? Will you like
100%.
let people know like
I'll go
in
harder
America,
than
Welsh
ever.
flag.
Yeah, make sure
because
you do,
I'm so like we're a small country. Like seeing them in the Euros, like oh my
That
god,
was so
the
unfair
passion
on us,
through.
though.
I know it was a passion that I
Unfortunately.
have. I don't know, man. I don't know why I'm so like so
Nah,
proud.
bro,
Yesterday I
it's
stopped at a castle on the way to my house, and I was just like, we got fucking castles like everywhere. I just walked around it on my own, just looking at this, thinking this is nuts.
Yeah.
And they were probably built by English to keep Welsh people out. But still,
Well, the
it's sick.
Caerphilly Castle's the second biggest in Britain behind Windsor.
Wow.
And it has a tower that outleans Pisa. innit?
Yeah.
It's just, and this one I went to was the youngest castle in Wales, and it's nearly
Where's
600
that?
years old.
By you, is it?
Raglan.
Raglan, yeah.
It's not too far
Not
from
far,
me.
yeah.
I'm so proud to be Welsh. The restaurant name will have something to do with Wales in the title. There will be dishes inspired by Welsh food.
Love that. Welsh
And,
cakes.
of course, and
Yeah.
and I'm gonna learn Welsh for sure. Yeah, I'm gonna learn Spanish and Welsh because I'm gonna need it when I go to these places.
Hispanic. Yeah, big Hispanic backgrounds and stuff.
Get a Spanish wifey.
Yeah. Is your Mrs. Spanish?
I don't have one, but
Oh,
maybe in the future if I speak Welsh.
So you said about the game changer. Like I tell you, what a lot of people were talking about lately was the Seaspiracy and the Cowspiracy. Have you watched them as well? What do you think of them?
I've watched Cowspiracy. I've watched a bit of Seaspiracy. You know, now that I've made the decision, like seeing more of this stuff is just like I got to a point I was saying to you guys earlier that like I'm finally at a point where I'm at this like place of calm. I'm happy, and like seeing all the political stuff on Instagram and all that, it feels very triggering every time I click on someone's story. There's a person missing, or there's this happening in the world, and like it's a lot for us to take. Like back in the day, we didn't have these phones that we could constantly look at and take on all these issues.
Yeah.
Like even if you're just glancing at it subconsciously, I feel like it's getting in our heads. And I was weighing myself down with all these things. I got myself into some bad places because also I had other things going on in my personal life that I needed to deal with. With all that outside stuff on top was too much. So when it comes to like these sort of documentaries that are quite hard hitting, I try not to like weigh myself down with it. And then more for me 5 years ago when I didn't know any of this stuff.
Yeah, of course.
Is mental health something that's big in your life? Like, is it something you've suffered with? And like, is it something that you've had to overcome? Yeah,
for sure. Like, I think I've always had, you know, trouble with maybe anxiety or, going through dark patches and stuff. I never like to say I was depressed and stuff because, like, I don't know, there's still a little bit of a stigma around it.
There's levels to it.
Yeah, and also like I never want to play the victim at anything. Like,
why me?
Yeah, so that there's. I could be going through something, but there's someone could be going through much worse. And also some of the things that I could be worried about could be so like minute to someone else. And I am in a privileged position now to be, living the life that I want to live. But we still all have everyday struggles to think about. But as I said, now in these last 5 months since moving to the countryside, I feel like this is the happiest I've ever been. And I'm so grateful that it's amazing.
So what was first lockdown like? First lockdown in London, how was
the worst?
Mentally, was you in a good place? Or?
Nah, not at all. I just got back I was in America. I just got back just before the lockdown hit. Just like 2 weeks before it, and I was told that someone recognized me on the flight. Didn't come over and say anything, but they recognized me on the flight and then messaged me when we landed saying, someone on our flight had COVID, you should isolate. And this is at a time where everyone's
scared.
Shit, I had masks on, I was washing my hands, all this stuff. I didn't leave my house for like 50 days or something like that in London. I lived alone, so that's a lot. And there was some difficult. I think I went a bit nuts, to be fair. Looking at some of my Instagram stories, I was like, oh, what am I doing? But anyway, I feel like I did go a bit nuts, but that I wasn't as bad as times I've been in my life. My dad had massive heart issues like 3 years ago. Never experienced any anxiety or anything like that. That was severe. I remember going to visit him in hospital the first time, and I was walking down the corridor, and the whole place is moving around me. I'm having this panic attack. Literally, the world feels like it feels like I'm in an earthquake, and like gasping for air, thinking I was having a heart attack myself. That happened for like a few months. Actually, thinking about it now is making my heart go.
Mad,
I remember ringing my
I
was ringing my mum saying, "Mum, we're gonna have to call an ambulance. Like I'm at home. I feel like I'm gonna die." It's just all in the mind, and it's nuts.
Were you creating scenarios in your own mind of like what potentially could happen?
It's bringing it on now, just thinking of like the time. But I mean, there was so much. I felt so much pressure on me. I was broke as hell. I was living at home. You know, I was everything. Every bit of money that I had was going into my business, trying to start the YouTube. My dad was in hospital. It was just such a crazy experience, you know.
Factors,
and
they all come into place.
All weighing on my head. Not exercising because I didn't think I had time to do it. Eating okay, but just not like really focusing on it. But so yeah, there's been some tough times, but like we were saying earlier, I feel like I got the ingredients now to really to feel good. Yeah, so I'm happy.
Amazing, bro.
Your father, is he on some of your videos?
Yeah,
he seems like a top guy.
Oh, he's a legend. Yeah, I actually should have mentioned earlier about when you were saying about parents pushing me into sport. I didn't get pushed into it, but my dad was a rugby coach from age 6 to 16.
What rugby club was you at?
I started off at St Iltid's, and then I went to Lanisham for a season, and I went to St Peter's. But all the way through, my dad was a coach, and like as a kid, like, you don't really appreciate it because you just think, oh, one of the dads is coaching. That's just what they do. But every flipping weekend and every evening, they're giving up their time to pass on knowledge or just to help the kids. And not only did he do that, he then like coached my school team when I was in primary school. And then they asked him, oh, we don't have a coach for the year below. Can you stay behind? And he still did it. Like, he's such a selfless, amazing guy. I was so happy. And my mum also works for me as well now. And she's just, I couldn't do what I do without her because she's unbelievable. But yeah, my dad's been coming on my YouTube channel recently because, as I said, he got me into cooking at a young age, and he's vegan himself as well as my mum, and he cooks these really nice recipes. And I thought, let's give him this platform. And people have
given him something back for like.
Yeah, and also nice, he's always wanted to do something that he's really passionate about. He's always thought about opening a cafe or something like that, but it's a lot of hard work. So I just said, right, let's do some YouTube videos together. And I said to my audience, I'll subscribe to my dad's new YouTube channel. And in a week, he got like 8,000 subscribers. I was blown away by it.
Mind-blowing.
I was like, that took me 6 months to get there. Like, or something crazy. So he's really happy.
What a diamond, like.
He's just such a good guy.
He deserves everything that he has, man.
Yeah.
Amazing, man. What would you say, so like you were saying about like mental health and diet, how do they both, how do they both work together then, basically? Like, what have you...
There seems to be a link for sure. You only have to think, if you have like a massive fast food meal, burger and chips, like, how do you feel after it, realistically?
Domino's is the worst.
You just feel
grim after it.
Yeah, you feel a bit like sluggish, a bit bored. You can't really go out and do stuff.
Want to go to sleep, don't you, after?
Exactly. There's that. It doesn't make you feel alive, that's for certain. I'll eat one of my meals, especially if I've grown the food myself, which I've started to do recently. I feel alive after it. And then as well as that, there's a link from like if I'm training, so if I'm doing my exercise, after that, I don't want to go and eat a Burger King. Not that I would anyway, but I mean, I don't want to eat a fast food meal. I want to eat something healthy. So then not only have I got that release of endorphins from training, I've then eaten a good meal after it, which is only nourishing me, and I feel good because of it. And then I'm ready for the day. Let's go. And I'm happy about myself. So exercise, food, just gives you a better
really help
look
you
at
mentally,
life,
like,
for sure.
Yeah.
What we put in our body is everything. It's our fuel. You wouldn't put rubbish fuel into a Ferrari. I give it the best thing.
You wouldn't put diesel
our bodies are the Ferraris. So
well, we eat, isn't it? That's fact.
So true. Yeah, I didn't. You know, it's quite inspiring. Really, I didn't really think of it like that. So,
like I was in the same position as you. I didn't think about it either that much, to be honest with you. I always enjoyed cooking. Always loved cooking. Always got into it that way, but never really I thought, oh yeah, this is actually helping me mentally and physically. But when you actually break it down, that food is going to have an impact somehow. And the more that, you know, if you build up month after a month of eating healthily, you know, it's going to pay off. So
yeah, if you had to say before Colin does your watch your rabbits,
Yeah.
what would you say like your top 3 rules for, like, because obviously you've been through a lot as a person, you've started a business, and you've now hit over 1 million subscribers on your YouTube channel. Like, your success has been amazing. You've done stuff with Wagamama, you've had meals, you've done some crazy things.
yeah.
And what would you say your top 3 rules are for somebody who's like just wants that to reach that level of success and stuff? Like, what would you say that is to really get to that place?
Yeah, it's a good question. My sister's actually starting a little fitness page. She's really into fitness, and she's always wanted something to be like passionate about, and she's found it in fitness herself. And I was giving her my tips actually on building a social media thing. So let's just take that for a topic, I guess. I think the first thing that I'm really happy I did was invest early. So even though I was broke as hell, I was doing these little food markets, selling my food when I quit my job just to make some money. And all of that money went into photography equipment. So when I was doing my food pictures, taking pictures of my recipes, you know, I was aiming to get as good as like recipe books or food magazines. So I was always trying to get
Top quality.
Yeah. So I guess the point there is invest in yourself, invest in good quality equipment. Look at you guys, you're doing it right. You've got the best microphones, you've got this crew here, and I can tell already this is going to go far.
Oh, I appreciate
it's,
that.
It's going to go far. So you've invested, right? And I'm not recommending it, but like when I was broke and I thought to myself, right, I need to go to YouTube. Damn, the crew's charging me, this new crew that I found on Twitter. They want to charge me this amount for X amount of videos. I was like, I have no money. I'm gonna have to get a credit card. So I just put on a credit card, but I believed in myself. And although
if you believe in yourself, you know,
although that probably added to that anxiety and stress that I had,
that's crazy, bro.
I'm looking back now, I'm glad I did it, because if I didn't do it, YouTube probably wouldn't have started.
That's like Ibby though. It's like what he said about risk, you know, and
risk,
and borrowing money to know that's going to pay off.
Yeah.
And if you believe in yourself so much, it will eventually pay off. And
yeah, man.
I've always just said, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it properly. And everything in life now, I do it properly. And someone messaged me the other day, said, like, I moved house, and the first thing I did was, because I'm in the middle of nowhere, I wanted to turn the garage into a gym. And, you know, I could have just like, it was a nice like space. I could have just put like a little makeshift squat rack or something like that. But I was like, nah, me and my dad, fair play to my dad, every weekend he gave up and we worked together on this, turning this garage into a gym, because he loves a bit of DIY. And we put all our effort into it. I invested in it, and now it looks like a proper gym. And that's because if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it properly. So yeah, do that, and also invest in yourself, and then be consistent. Don't think, right, I got this vision, start posting stuff, start doing things, and then a month goes by, and then you're like, oh, I haven't posted in a while, or I haven't done this. Like, keep consistent. And another point finally is, don't care what people think, because it is a big jump. And especially when I started my food page, I was actually kind of nervous to tell my close friends that I'm doing it, or I was nervous of what people would think of me when I start posting my first YouTube video, because, you know, I'd never been on camera other than that one appearance on that Britain's Best Dish. But I was so nervous when I first started filming. And if I was doing this 3 years ago, I would have been shaking. So I've come a long way, but I was really conscious of how people would take to me.
I think what they thought.
Yeah, but mainly it was what I'd think of my close friends would think. But if they're going to judge me, fuck them. They ain't close friends, you know?
Also, do you know what? I said this to these guys as well. Your close friends aren't even your audience, really.
Yeah.
Like, no offense, they support you, but they're not actually your audience.
Yeah.
Like, and if you think even bigger than Cardiff, even like some people in Cardiff aren't your audience. Like,
No.
your audience is global, and people will
Exactly.
find you. Who,
That's
if they
the beauty
like
of
you, they'll
social
find
media.
you. So
Yeah, you're right. I think often your close friends, the last ones to give you props, because they're like, what's he doing? Like, why is he posting this? Or, you know, that's a bit of a strange move. Like, you don't see people going over to YouTube from Cardiff that often. So we almost pigeonhole ourselves a little bit in Cardiff. We're quite chill. We're never that not that outspoken. Like, that's when Astro Boys were taking off. Like, I saw so many of my close friends, like, thinking, this group, who do they think they are? They think they're from London. I was like, these guys are sick. And then I ended up becoming friends with them in the end. And it was such a good energy to be around, seeing young kids from Cardiff, like,
you can't
doing
do that.
something.
You're a bunch of white boys from Cardiff. Like,
it was just like, so don't care what people think. And I'm finally at a position now, I feel I'm almost there, that I just don't care what anyone thinks anymore. Nice. I thought it would take me, I thought I'd be a lot older. Now I just don't give a shit. I'm just going with it.
It's mad to think, like, when you were starting out, you were nervous, and now look at you. Like, it's mad.
I can't believe it, honestly. So a funny little story. I was posting my food on Instagram, and there was this competition to make. I don't know why it was there, but someone posted a competition of making the best avocado on toast. So here's me being competitive. I'll show.
Maybe you would smash that.
I made an avocado rose. It's beautiful. I don't know why anyone.
Do you mean
would
a
do
rose?
It. I basically like carved.
Oh, you made a rose?
Yeah, I basically carved the avocado and then I put
into
it on,
a rose.
And it looked beautiful. I took an amazing photograph. What did I say? I took an amazing photograph.
Photograph.
No, it was great. Yeah.
Tasted like ass, but
it tasted beautiful too. And
like
anyway,
rose.
and I went down to this local vegan restaurant in Cardiff called Anna Loca, and the chef or the owner there had followed me on Instagram. He saw me make that, and he's like, "Oh, you got to show us the guys in the kitchen how to make it." And I was like, "Yeah, of course." I walked in the kitchen, and then I had like 4 chefs around me looking over my shoulder. And because they were all looking at me and there was pressure on me, I just started shaking like this. And then the knife wasn't sharp enough, the avocado wasn't right. And I was like, I was thinking to myself, oh shit, I'm never going to be able to do anything on TV because I can't deal with the pressure. But I just forced myself to it. The first videos, which I've now taken down, I was like, I was so uptight. I wasn't my smiley self. I was just too nervous. But then, as I said, you get into it. No. And now I actually watch my show and I'm like a fan. I forget that it's me. I laugh at the interaction between me and my crew. I laugh at my mistakes. I leave it all in because originally the crew that I originally had were making me edit myself. So if I messed up, and I'm not the best speaker, if I messed up, I'd have to do it again. So that would result in like 10 takes for each sentence. Now I leave it all in and people enjoy that more. And it's just me.
Organic, yeah. People love it more natural, don't they?
Yeah. So I've come a long way in terms of dealing with the nerves, and like now I've done live cooking shows in front of like 1,000 people. That's in amazing. Canada. Like it's mind blowing. Honestly, it's absolutely mind blowing.
Did you ever envision any of this happening?
No.
Oh my god!
It's just come to you.
Just riding the wave.
You've got so sick. You've just flowed.
Is there many vegan places in Cardiff then to go? Like, is there any you'd recommend?
Yeah,
like?
good shop.
Yeah, Anna Loca is decent. Yeah, definitely. Is actually more than decent. It's really, really nice.
Atma, they're good.
Atma, I haven't been there in a while.
Sick.
To be honest, I've been out of Cardiff for so long.
Capital Centre.
Do you reckon there needs to be
Blanche Bakery? They got really good vegan donuts near City Road.
Nice. Yeah. Do you reckon there needs to be a like a McDonald's style vegan restaurant?
There was
everywhere.
There was one opposite the castle called Greasy Vegan. I don't think it's there
anymore.
Oh
yeah, no, I've seen.
But they made their big mock. I think they called it exactly the same. But now, like, you can go to Burger King now, I think, and get like a vegan Whopper.
Well, KFC,
they've all got
KFC done it for a month.
Try it.
The Whopper.
So, if you really love it, that's a good word. But I'm not into it anymore. But
the mock-up.
There's definitely there's like you can go to any restaurant in town and get a vegan option. I did the collaboration with Wagamama. I put a vegan egg that I created on dish.
Oh, I seen that was sick.
Tasted amazing.
Vegan egg. It tasted like an egg. It was brilliant.
This is the one thing I didn't make taste the same because I didn't actually like the taste of eggs. So I made it taste like coconut and chili.
It was amazing though because when I saw the photo of it, it was like an amazing sort of like noodle dish almost, or like a soup. And then the egg was like almost like floating in there.
Yeah.
But it looked like it was class. When I saw it, I was like, I actually wanted to try it. So. Is this still in Wagamama now?
I think it is. I think because of COVID, some of them have limited menus. But
so you did like a set deal with them or like?
Yeah, so
amazing.
created the dish with them. I was a
Right.
fan of Wagamama since I was a little kid because I was always into cooking. So when they asked me to do a dish, it was just the best thing in the world. That was one of the biggest achievements.
Yeah.
I remember going on holidays as a little kid to France, and there was a kid running around with a Wagamama t-shirt. And this is when Wagamama wasn't big. It was just a couple of restaurants in London. Yeah. I was so jealous of that kid. And then fast forward, the staff were walking around in Gaz Oakley Wagamama t-shirts. My dad framed one for me as well.
So amazing.
Yeah.
So
Congratulations on that, bro.
Thank you. It's
They
almost as good
contact
as
you?
playing for Wales.
So they just contacted you saying, "Yo, like we want to do a meal
I
with
think
you."
actually what happened, I went for
collaborative, isn't they, Wagamama?
yeah, they do lots of collabs
yeah.
now. I went there and I had food there, and then I just posted them in the story, and then we just started DMing, and then one thing led to another. I actually did 2 dishes with them, but the second dish was out in America, in the restaurants in America. So we toured New York and Boston, and it's just
That's so
this feels
sick.
like a world ago because of COVID, but it's just pinching myself. I feel so grateful.
Yeah, you
So
should.
grateful.
Yeah, that's amazing. Mate.
What
I'm
you
proud.
got coming
I'm
up
proud.
now? Any massive projects or anything going on?
Well, the big thing in my life was obviously moving house and getting my first house, and like learning new things was growing the food. It's something I've always wanted to do, and it's brought me so much peace. It's another reason why I feel so happy now. Growing my own food is amazing. But I have had time to think about things and what I want to do next. And I really want to get into making, I make my episodes on my YouTube channel every week they come out, but I want to make something bigger and better. And I want to maybe do something on Netflix. Yeah. So I'm going to do something like a travel food show inspired by people like Anthony Bourdain or That's Delicious, Action Bronson. He's got his crew.
That's sick. I was talking about
a marriage of the
I watched
two.
him on Vice.
Yeah,
he's
amazing.
cool.
Action Bronson's a G, man.
Definitely, yeah. Just a marriage of the two. Less sort of vegan centric, but more just like learning about cultures.
Yeah.
Potentially filming the first one in September in Jamaica. The pilot episode.
Come give us a shout if you ever want us.
Yeah.
We'll come.
The Central Club.
Listen, I don't need vegans. I want to. You could try and do one to make change.
So I want to go there and learn about the culture. It doesn't have to be like. I don't want to be like, oh yeah, they make their famous dishes are ackee saltfish or jerk.
They
chicken.
live off the field, off the land. Though,
I'm going to show all that because that's really rich culture. And then what I'll say is, oh, there happens to be this one chef who actually cooks jerk chicken but makes it vegan, or ackee saltfish, just a vegan version. Then we'll meet them, or we'll tell the story of the
there are some
farmer.
out there, then, is it?
Yeah, or we'll tell, because Ital cuisine is massive in Rastafarian community.
Well, my brother's girlfriend's Jamaican, and her father would only eat vegetarian food.
Ital.
She'd do vegetarian.
And Ital is basically just means vital, and it's all the vital foods that we should be eating. And I love that. So I'm going to tell their story and do that wherever we go in the world. So that's the dream. COVID's going to put a little spanner in the works, but fingers crossed we get there and we can do that. That's the next big plan. And then restaurant time.
Yeah, amazing. Open your own restaurant, yeah?
Yeah.
Amazing, man. It's been what a story.
Well, I got a couple of questions anyway.
Yeah.
We do a couple of what you
Sorry
rather
if I've
questions.
just gone on mad.
Amazing,
I haven't talked to many people in a
really
long time.
insightful. It's been insightful, bro. Serious. Like
I wanted you to come on just to find out more about veganism anyway, because I'm just unhealthy. But yeah, so I got a couple of questions. This is to do with how much you might know about veganism.
Oh shit, you're gonna put me on the spot.
No,
now.
they're probably quite easy. You probably know them. I just picked them off the internet. So how many land animals are killed for their meat every day? Around 70 million, over 200 million, or 120 million?
I wouldn't have a clue, but they're horrible numbers, isn't it? You say their options again. Sorry.
Around 70 million, over 200 million, or 120 million.
Probably 120.
It's over 200 million.
200 million animals are killed every
ridiculous.
day.
Every day.
That's nuts.
I didn't even know there was that many animals.
That is quite a lot.
Well, I think how many McDonald's and Burger Kings have to be supplied.
I always think this. I go into
200
Tesco
million.
and I see
that
so
definitely
chickens.
correct?
100%.
No, I think I've heard a statement
my
like
God.
that for a long time.
200 mil.
Right, look. I'm not lying. How many land animals are killed for their meat every day? Over 200 million.
So, like, I don't research this type of
absolutely
thing
insane.
much, but that like solidifies my decision in my head a bit more, which is good.
Okay, then.
That's nuts.
Which
You're going to end this on a really sad...
No.
The watch rather at the end.
Okay, good.
Which musician is the reason why
yeah.
Lisa Simpson is a vegan?
Who's Lisa Simpson?
What do you
Simpsons.
mean? The Simpsons.
Oh, Lisa Simpson.
Who's Lisa Simpson?
I don't know why. I thought like Steps or something then. Is there something called Lisa?
No, that's
Is that the band, Steps?
Yeah, that's what I think. I have no idea. I haven't watched Simpsons.
Just think of a musician who's obviously something to do with vegan.
Moby.
No, it's Paul McCartney.
Yeah.
He's vegan.
Well, they do
Lisa,
McCartney
innit?
foods.
Yeah, the sausages. Yeah, they're sick. I like
Which
it.
Oscar-winning actor referenced cruelty in the dairy industry in their Best Actor Acceptance speech?
Joaquin Phoenix.
Yay. You have to like say that properly.
Yeah,
Joaquin.
No, because it's like quinoa, innit?
Yeah.
It's the food, yeah.
All right, and one more. I'll just give you one more. True or false? In 2018, the UK launched more vegan products than anywhere else.
False. True, for sure. Yeah,
You're right.
UK is smashing it, to be fair. Just go to the supermarket there. Get vegan pretty much everything. It's starting to get annoying. Leave some chef to be able to create recipes.
Us all. No, I'm joking. No, fair play.
I haven't plugged my books once or so far, so that's good.
Yeah.
There you go.
And then
There we are.
these are just some what you rather questions, okay? Like so, you say JME is a vegan and a fan of yours in music, I'm assuming. So, which one of these songs do you prefer? Food or Man Don't Care?
Man don't care.
Okay. Do you prefer London or Cardiff?
Cardiff.
Fitness or cooking?
Cooking.
Would you prefer to make a film or a TV show?
Oh, that's a hard one. I reckon a film because these cooking shows that you see on like BBC and ITV or any of those channels, they're a bit old school, too old school. I want to make something cinematic and beautiful. I love film, so yeah, I reckon a film.
That's good. Okay. Proud Welshman, loves your sports.
Yeah.
Would you prefer football or rugby?
Rugby. Yeah, I love football so much, and watching them at the Euros was massive, but rugby was my first passion, and I'll always go back to it. During the lockdown, I just ordered some rugby balls from my house. I opened out the box and I felt emotional. It was like a baby. I was like, I haven't touched a rugby ball it seemed like for ages. Honestly, I'm proper weird. And then I went to the local rugby pitch then, more or less every day. To go get my next meal. I just started kicking the ball over the post, and I proper enjoyed it. I was like, I'm going to play. So I haven't yet played, but when things get back to normal, maybe I will.
Come down fair water now game.
I'll see how big the players are first.
You know what I was going to say as well? You mentioned your book. If you could just plug your books, because there's people out there who want to have recipes for the things that you've been cooking.
Yeah.
Some people like to read it rather than watch it. You know how it is. So if you could just plug your books, which camera can you put them in the eye? So if you don't want to say the camera, whatever.
Yeah, no, I'll say I'm rubbish at doing that kind of thing. But I released 3 books on this journey, which is nuts. The first time, I always thought I'll put my recipes together and make a book, but I never thought I would have a publisher, like helping me with it. And I got an email one day out of the blue from my now agent saying, "Hi, I'm so and so. Would you like to?" I'm going to shout her out. Actually, her name's Zoe. She's amazing. Would you like to do a book? And I thought it was someone winding me up as a prank, because at the time I had like probably 80,000 Instagram followers, but the quality was nowhere near where it is now. And I said, I would love to do a book, but I still didn't believe it. She said, okay, come to London, we'll meet some publishers. I turned up again, really broke, megabus days, £3 a trip to London, had to be done, turned up there, scruffy clothes and everything, went to these really fancy offices in London and talked about doing a book. It was amazing. And then like a year later, my first one came out, which was called Vegan 100. And it was just like all of my best recipes that I created from the first day going vegan up until that point, and also like some of the old ones that I cooked in the restaurants that I happened to like veganize. That's the word that I use. Yeah. That came out probably 4 years ago now. And then a year later, I was like, I want to do a recipe book for Christmas, because it was always a hard time for vegans at Christmas time. So I was like, right, let me do a Christmas book. I did that. I turned that out really fast, actually. Came out in the same year as the first one, which is unheard of. But because I've been cooking for so long, I got recipes for days. It's like Chitlins, got bars for days. I got recipes for days. And then took a little bit more time then for the most recent one, which came out just over a year ago now. It's called Plants Only Kitchen. A recipe for with simple recipes, a little focus on recipes that are good for training, like protein-packed ones. And that came out, and I'm now thinking about the next one now. So, because they take a couple of years to make, or at least a year and a half to make. So I need a bit of time into it.
Well, fair play. Well,
I should have bought you one. I'll send you one in the post.
Amazing.
Yeah,
me too. Honestly,
Put it on the shelf. Yeah.
I need one anyway. Like, where can I get? Where's it? Amazon.
Did you send us like 3, 4?
I'll send it. Yeah, no, I will. You get it from all good bookstores, Amazon, my website. Yes, that's cool.
Basically, Tom,
Tesco.
buy it.
That's another amazing thing. Just like going to a shop and seeing your book, my face on a book.
Yeah, I can imagine, mate. Yeah.
Just, I can't believe it, and it proves that anything is possible. So, hats off to you guys starting this, because, like, it's not something that most people think they can do for themselves. Well, most of us are fans of things. Why don't we create it ourselves? And that's what you're doing here. So it's great.
Thank you.
And you've done with the barbershop, and you, coming, through the troubles you've had is amazing.
Thank you.
And I'm a big boxing fan, and he gets his hate. But Eddie Hearn, he was on YouTube, IFL the other day doing an interview, and he was saying that success is, measured differently depending on who you are. It's interpreted differently. So, that person that loses a load of weight, that could be like the biggest achievement and is an amazing achievement. Yeah. But then to another person, making $10 million is the only success they're gonna really appreciate. So success is interpreted differently, and it comes at different points in your life. I'm happy that mine came earlier on, but then, who's to say that like the next best actor won't be discovered when he's 50 or she's 50?
Mm-hmm.
So
different levels.
Yeah, nice. There's never a time on things.
Words of wisdom there, man. Words of wisdom.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
And I'm not the best speaker, so I'm happy.
Yeah, well, there's one thing which we haven't done, which we do with all of it. I just have one question we got to say. Yeah. Definitely. So if you had 2 superpowers, one for yourself and one to change humanity, what would they be?
Superpower. I don't know, man. Time travel.
And to help other people?
Help other people. I always say that people should be taught how to cook in school. So if that's not an option, then I'll just say for everyone to know how to cook.
I thought you were saying everyone to turn vegan.
I love that though.
You're
it's like make your decision on your own, like.
Yeah, and that's how it should be. I think that if you can cook, you're already off to a head start with things like going vegan, and you seem to have more of a connection with what's on your plate anyway.
Yeah.
It's not a product anymore.
Where would you go?
Time travel.
Yeah.
I'd change a few things I did in my past in terms of cringy little things, or
wouldn't see the pyramids or something like that.
No, just a few drunken nights out that I'd take back, or
nice.
Like maybe treating family or girls differently.
Eat less chicken.
You're such a good guy, man.
Eat less meat. Yeah. And then going to see a few places a few years ago, that would be quite cool. Or go fast forward to the future. That would
be your last haircut from Sage.
Yes. Oh yeah. No, is it that bad? Because honestly, I just cut. This is the first time I've been on a video.
You suit a bald.
No, it looks good.
My hair, I had this much taken off.
No, your hair looks. When you have long hair, it looks decent, man. Honestly.
Yeah, it's fresh.
So my main camera guy and my editor, Tom, he was my barber.
Sick.
I met him in London, became really good friends. I didn't have any London friends.
I followed him. Is it Tom in a nutshell?
Yeah, he doesn't have Instagram anymore, but now I get haircuts because he's employed by me whenever I want, which is good. But then in Cardiff, I got a couple of people, my friend Josh Crook.
Shout out Josh.
You know Josh?
I know Josh. Yeah. Close friends with his brother Ben. So.
Loveliest guy. And then I sometimes go to my old stomping ground, BBS on City Road. Which
shout out back rap.
Nam in there. I love him. Proper legend. But I'd love to cut hair myself. I love creative things.
I want to be silky smooth.
Silky smooth. But yeah, I'll definitely come to say soon
come
for
through,
sure.
man, 100%.
Thank you.
Yo,
Well, on that note, guys, we could talk all day.
Yeah, no,
I'm sure we will when we go
it.
anyway.
I want
But
to eat now. I'm hungry.
yeah, I'm starving. I
Let's get
swear.
some vegans there.
Thank you very much, guys. Honestly, and
Thank you
hopefully
so
in a
much
few
for having
years'
me.
time, or we'll
Come
get you
to the
back
restaurant.
on. Yeah, definitely. We'll fly,
come
when I'm
back on
allowed over the States in 10 years' time, I'll fly over.
I'll have to open it here then.
Yeah. No, thank you very much, guys. I'll see you soon. Stay central.
Boom.
The Central Club.